guys, today we'll be explaining the Analects of Confucius 5.8, where we'll see that professional success doesn't always mean moral or personal greatness. And without further ado, let's get started. 5.8. Meng Wubo asked, "Is Zilu humane?" The master replied, "I really don't know." The Meng Wubo asked again. The master replied, "You or Zilu could be put in charge of military levies in a state of 1,000 chariots, but I don't know if he is humane. What about Qiu or Ran Qiu?" The master replied, "Qiu could be made to assume the stewardship of a town with 1,000 households or of a hereditary family with 100 chariots, but I don't know if he is humane. And what about Chi or Gongxi Hua?" The master replied, "Chi, standing in court with his sash fastened high and tight, could be asked to converse with the visitors and guests, but I don't know if he is humane." Alright, so we're introduced to a lot of but a lot of people here, and most of whom we've seen before. So Meng Wubo, we've seen him before. He's a noble of the Meng family, and he was seen asking Confucius some kind of question too earlier on. And he really values power and utility. And also, he is asking Confucius, is Zilu and the others really perfectly and morally virtuous, or are they benevolent or humane? And then Zilu, and we literally saw him in 5.7, where, if you can recall, he really loves action and excitement, but he's also very impulsive, and he could use a little more thinking through things and a little more wisdom, I guess. And Ran Qiu, we have also seen him before when the Ji family, who, if you can recall, was a very corrupt family, and they really took advantage of the situation that they were in. And when they were sacrificing to Mount Tai, which they were not supposed to do, Ran Qiu was serving under them, and Confucius asked him, "Couldn't you have stopped them from doing that? And of course you knew that they couldn't do that, but why didn't you stop them? Or could you have stopped them?" And then Ran Qiu was like, no. So he really values this government system, but he has trouble saying no. And Gongxi Hua or Chi, we've actually never seen him before. This is the first time that he's appeared, and he's basically this perfect, gentlemanly kind of person who is really an expert on rituals and rites, but he focuses too much on having the perfect form and focuses too much on his external appearance. And with that context, we can go into the text, and we'll see the first thing that Confucius says is about Zilu. So Zilu, he says that he can be a very good military commander. And so he says that he could be put in charge of military levies in a state of 1,000 chariots. A state of 1,000 chariots is a really strong, really huge military power. And being put in charge of all the military levies means that he can easily organize all the charges and draft people and the taxes and all the stuff about going into war, and he can really execute that very, very well. So that means that he can handle high pressure and high stakes situation and also manage a big group of people at the same time. And then we'll skip the "I don't know if he's humane" part because he literally says that 4 times, so we'll just put at the end. And then it's Ran Qiu's turn. So Ran Qiu, Confucius says that he could be made to assume the stewardship, or he could govern a town with 1,000 households, which is a really big population, or of a hereditary family with 100 chariots, so a really wealthy hereditary family. So this is just saying that he has the ability to manage the government efficiently. So he can balance both the books and also organize the people. And then Gongxi Hua, or Chi, standing in court with a sash fastened high and tight. So court with his sash, which is just a formal court dress. And he could be asked to converse with the visitors and guests. And the visitors and guests in this case, when it's in a court, then they have to be really high-ranked people or important people from a foreign place. And so he's a diplomat in this case. So this means that he has cultural sophistication. And so he understands protocol, language, and etiquette perfectly. So he can be called the face of the state. And so this is why Confucius says, I don't know if he is humane, so many times. So they all have their weaknesses, as we can see, and being humane isn't just being good at your job. It's also moral perfection, which these men don't really have yet. And that leads to our other point about why Confucius is like, I don't know. So he says, I don't know, not because he's ignorant or anything of the sort, but he just doesn't want to cheapen his praise, I guess, which is the highest praise that he can give, being humane. So he doesn't just want to give it out randomly to people just because they're good at their job. So he leaves it as an open question, mainly because being humane is something that is an internal state of heart, while just their administrative skill is an external thing. So that doesn't really line up, and being called and calling them humane doesn't really make sense in this case. And also, flashback to that moment when Confucius was like, the gentleman is not a vessel. So these people are definitely vessels. They're highly specialized at their profession and they have one use. And although they are really good at their jobs, they are still kind of like useful tools and not really encompassing everything, basically. And yeah, that will be all today. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!